Welcome back to episode 33 of the Snatch Chat podcast. You with me, Connor. We've got a bunch of questions that we're going to go through. We've got a nice array of questions on technique, mindset, programming. There's quite a few on technique actually this week, which is good. Some different ones, okay. We've got injuries in there, mindset, which probably we should all talk about, and then lifestyle as well. So we've got a good bunch of questions. As always, hopefully that a few of these questions resonate with you, whether that is in terms of technique and you get some valuable cues that you can take away and tips to actually improve the way that you lift, or whether that is mindset and programming to actually make you a better lifter overall. So let's get ourselves straight into it. I can hit a solid power snatch, but the moment I try to go under it into a full squat snatch, I crash forward and the bar ends up in front of me. My coach says my strength is fine. So what is actually stopping me from getting under the bar? Okay, so it's hard without seeing this lift, but the first thing that I would say here is, are you able to do an overhead squat? Okay, an overhead squat with good quality depth and the bar is relatively stable overhead. If the answer is yes to that, we've got a technical issue within the snatch. If the answer is no, I would hazard a guess that the foundations, whether that's the squat position that you're trying to get into in your overhead squat, are you trying to stay up tall, or are you actually allowing yourself to lean forwards? Is your grip a little bit too close, or do you need to change your foot position, okay? Or it's down to mobility. So is it the foundations or the mechanics of that movement, wider grip, better squat movement where it's hips back, chest forwards, knees out, or taking your feet a little bit wider or narrower for some? And if it's not any of those, or if you do these areas and you're still finding that you can't, or you're struggling to overhead squat, we've got a mobility issue. That's then when you need to look at assessing your mobility. I'm looking to add something into the free school community, the Weightlifting Performance Lab, that is all on about mobility, assessing your mobility specifically for the Olympic lifting movements, how to assess what to do and where to sort of go from there. And obviously, as always, the link is below, so if you're not in there, use that link and get involved. But if it's none of that and you're able to overhead squat, you've made sure that your grip is in, your grip, the foot position, how you at an overhead squat is all fine. That then leads us to a mobility issue. Not a mobility issue, a technical issue within the snatch. So what is this? What is causing you to catch in a power position and struggle to get into a full snatch? Often, what you'll probably find is that a lot of people, when they go into the snatch, they end up trying to sit into it really tall. Their back is basically vertical. But that's not how you'd overhead squat. An overhead squat, the same as any other squat movement, you'd break at the hips, you drive those hips back, you allow yourself to lean forwards, and you push your knees out. So the first thing that I would look at trying to do here in your snatch is, as that bar reaches your hips, we're going to jump and we're going to think about sending those hips back and chest forwards. Can you try and transition better into that overhead squat to allow you into that movement? Secondly, if that is not the case, you potentially might be a little bit sort of tense in those arms. You're trying to move that bar with the upper body rather than allowing the legs to do the work. And because the upper body is tight, you then fluidly can't move around that bar. Loosen that grip. Internally, we want to be braced. Okay, but externally we shouldn't look really stiff in those arms, shoulders, okay? The shoulders should be down, the arms nice and loose. Loosen the grip of the hook grip, that will probably help to allow you to loosen those arms a little bit. Try and stay nice and long in that movement for as long as possible. We only start to attack that lift and start to look to get the arms involved as that bar reaches the hips and we're forcing ourselves underneath that bar. We're driving the elbows up and we're punching that bar behind us, but at no point do I get to my hips and look to try and take the weight overhead. Those are the areas that I would look at assessing. If it's none of those, get back to me or send me a video inside the Performance Lab on the Free School Community. It's Feedback Friday coming up in 2 days. Send me the videos, I'll give you some feedback. I'll give you feedback for free. Okay, question number 2. How do I know when to add weight to the bar and when to stay at the same weight? I either go too heavy too soon and my technique falls apart. I stay too light for too long out of fear. Is there a rule? I think the rule, or Sorry, I'm just typing this down because I think that's actually a really good social media post. But anyways, what I like to do when I get these questions is like just tick down like, yeah, put that in your bloody social media or emails that I send out. But anyways, let's get back to the question. How do you know when to add weight? Do you stay the same or do you increase? And there's a common thing that I say to a lot of people. And it's to those people that don't know whether they need to increase or whether they need to stay the same. First things first, if that movement is solid, there's no bending of the elbow, there's no stepping forwards in the snatch, because those are the areas that I would class it as a failed lift. If that movement is looking solid, we're catching it flat-footed, the arms nice and long, and we're standing straight up and we're not having to step forwards, increase the load. If you are finding that your movement is starting to crumble, you're stepping forwards as you receive that bar, I'm just going by the snatch for example here. Or if you're bending the elbow as you lock out, there's a bend of that elbow, you're stepping forwards, or you're feeling quite unstable overhead, keep the weight the same. What I've not said there is if it feels heavy, stay the same, or if it feels light, stay the same. Try and decipher between the technical side of things and the way things feel. Because as that weight builds, the weightlifting movements are going to feel heavy. It's the idea of the sport. You can't get out of it. And I always focus on how did that lift actually move. And one of the things that I tell a lot of clients is, or I use a saying quite often, and it's fuck about and find out. If that movement felt good at the time, that set was like, yeah, I locked out straight away, I didn't step forwards. It felt okay, I felt quite strong overhead, I'm going to increase. Perfect, increase. If all of a sudden things start to feel quite wobbly or quite unstable, I might stay the same there, or if I'm failing it, bring it back down, okay? Fuck about and find out, and that's basically what that term is. Do not be afraid to increase the weight, find out that was a bit of an error, and then bring it back down ever so slightly. I don't see the issue every now and again in this, probably as you're around that sort of 80 to 90% realm, that sets go like, I've increased, I've decreased it. I've increased it, stayed the same, I've decreased it, I've increased it. And you're sort of having this pattern, because as those weeks carry on through that strength phase, you'll find what your limiting factor is, how that consistency is looking, and it gives you so much more feedback. So use that term, fucking about and find out. I think it's awesome. I absolutely love it. I will use that saying at any given moment whenever it is possible. Question number 3. My footwork in the clean lands in a completely different position almost every rep. Sometimes narrow, sometimes wide. My coach has tried multiple cues and nothing is making it consistent. What's causing this? So if you're finding that your feet are going too wide, you are rushing to get underneath that bar. The bar probably hasn't got enough height, and then that's when you're attacking it. If your feet are then too close and you're leaning forwards because your feet are then too close, you're probably, again, using those arms a little bit too much, and the legs can't do anything. I think a great exercise here is, or to try and focus on the legs do the work, is doing a bunch of no feet cleans. Okay, so your feet will start in the end position. What this really starts to teach you is that because you can't move your feet now, you're having to drive hard through the legs. You're pushing the floor away, getting used to making this a leg or a lower body dominant movement. The force is generated through the legs, through staying flat-footed. Okay, so one session or session 1 of the week will be no feet snatches. At the end of the week, I'm going to do snatches, and I'm almost going to try and replicate doing a no feet snatch and allowing my feet to shuffle. Okay, the no feet snatches teaches us where we want to be in the bottom of our clean and gets us using our legs. So at end of the week when we go into our cleans, I'm not thinking that it's completely different. I'm thinking, right, I'm going to try and do a no feet clean. Can I bring my feet ever so slightly closer and shuffle them out? Can I try and still push through my legs, not my arms, let my legs do the work? The force is generated through the legs. And seeing whether the no feet clean bleeds into your standard clean. Okay, hopefully that has answered the question there. Question number 4. I've had a reoccurring wrist pain in my right hand during the jerk for about 3 months. It comes and goes. At what point should I stop modifying around it and actually see a physio? See a physio straight away. 3 months, way too long. Okay, you shouldn't be feeling pain for 3 months and not seeing a physio. Don't avoid seeing a physio because your coach has said, oh, pain is normal. Pain is not normal. Go and get it assessed. You are better off a physio telling you get over it, it's absolutely fine, work on. Perfect, use that information. They might tell you that actually you've got a little bit of tightness here, we need to stretch out these forearm muscles. Or it might well be just the position that you are in on the bar. Take your hands a little bit closer for the clean, see if that's better for the wrist, okay? Always get advice from a physio. A coach is not a physio. This is where I wish coaches and physios work together, okay? And you get it every now and again, but for a lot of times, the coach tries to be the physio rather than using the physio to actually guide the program. It's better for the athlete at the end of the day. So go and get information off the physio, bring it back to your coach, use it in your program. Question number 5. I've just started a new program with the competition lifts. Well, I don't know why I said it like that, but I've just started a new program with competition lifts 4 days per week. But I was only training them twice before. My body feels completely wrecked by week 3. Is this normal and what should I do? No, it almost sounds like the volume has just ramped up too soon, okay? It's the same with everything. Treat it the same as anything that you do in life. If you're used to 2 times per week, doubling it is going to be really flipping hard on the central nervous system. So what you should do is just look to increase it 3 times per week. Get used to that and then increase it. Again, a comment that I like to use a lot, and I use this a lot in consultations when I speak to athletes that are probably doing way too much at the start of their program. We are constantly looking for the minimal effective dose. We are looking for the minimal effective dose. If you're used to 2 times per week, we're starting to, there's nothing left in that sponge. We've wrung out as much performance as we can. We're going to look to increase it to 3 times per week, making a small adjustment. Get used to that small adjustment, get the benefits from that small adjustment, then look to increase it. But you do not want to massively increase it all of a sudden, okay? Again, as a program sort of shifts through, you'll probably start off with less. The middle of that program, you've increased the volume of them a little bit more, so you might be doing now 3 times. As you get close to the competition, you're going to do it 4 times. But you still want that gradual increase throughout the program. Okay, minimal effective dose. Listen to that, resonate with that, use it in your training. Jobs are good. Question number 6. I got ill for 2 weeks and came back to training to find everything feels harder, heavier, and worse. How do I get momentum back without the frustration pushing me to train hard too fast? Okay, so getting ill is just one of those. You can't do anything about it. And this is going to be different for a lot of people. Now, I heard Sonny Webster put something out about this the other day. It's very similar, okay? And the fact that he had an athlete that went out drinking for, 3 days, like heavy, on a bender, came back, didn't necessarily make any changes to the program, and got straight back into it. I don't think that is the case for a lot of people. And I'm not saying we need to scrap the program, bring everything right down, but say for example we're working at 85%, you've then gone on a bender that weekend, it was planned, it was a stag do, or you've got ill that weekend and you've had a week off. You're going to look, in my eyes, to start that week a lot lower. Get yourself back into training. My priority is, if you've been ill or if you've been on a bender, is let's look at getting nutrition and especially hydration tightened. Reduce the volume of the intensity, or reduce the intensity of those sessions, so it's not going to start attacking the central nervous system. Focus on hydration, focus on nutrition. As the week then builds, so as you go into session 2, we're going to be slightly touching just below where we were in session 2. The week before, session 3, we're back to normal. The week after that then, we're back on plan. So it should just be a slight reduction, allow us some time to sort of just get moving again, and then look to build. That's what I would do with my athletes. There's an element of, with every athlete that I have, we do our weekly check-ins, we have these conversations ahead of time. Okay, if they're ill, they let me know. We make those adaptations. It's never about rushing someone back into training. Priority when you've been ill: hydration and nutrition. Tighten them first. Get back into the program by dropping it ever so slightly, and use that week that you get back into training to progressively build. At the end of the week, the last session of that week probably wants to be somewhere just bang on where you were, or just below potentially where you finished the previous week. and then we're new week thereafter, we're clean slate, we're back to where we need to be. That's how I would do it. Question number 7. My coach says sleep is as important as training, but I generally can't control my sleep because of my job or kids. What is the single most important lifestyle change I can make if sleep isn't something I can fix? Man, I hear you. I am literally rocking probably about 4 hours sleep right now. Like, I'm not complaining. Aurora sleeps fantastic through the night. Touch wood, long may that continue. But, I think at the moment what I'm struggling with myself, and again, I don't want to make the question about myself, but I end up doing a little bit of work before bed, which then pushes my bedtime to about 10:30, 11:15, maybe 11 o'clock. Because I'm trying to spend some time, bathing her, being with her on an evening where before I would work. So I'm trying to, find the new norm. And because of that, it affects my sleep. I wake up, I do the night feed. I want to do the night feed. I want to take the burden off Shannon a little bit and feed. So she pumps this bottle, I feed her the bottle, we go back to bed. That might be an hour. So I'm having probably about 4 hours sleep, which isn't really that bad when I was probably having like 5 to 6 before. My sleep has already been pretty poor, but I am feeling physically, mentally fucked most days. So you've got to control the controllables. You might be in a similar situation to me. It might not, but the general rule is you're having less sleep. I can't change my sleep as it is. What I can do though is try and be more organised in the week to allow that night time before bed on my laptop to fizzle out or to do less of it, so I can get into bed closer to 10:30 rather than 11 o'clock, because that's going to give me an extra half an hour in bed. But the things that I'm trying to focus on is good nutrition, making sure that I'm eating really good hearty meals, my protein is up, I'm eating some good carbs, I've got fruit and veg in all of my meals. The other thing is hydration, making sure that I am drinking fully. If you are dehydrated, it's only going to make you feel more fatigued. So nail the hydration, nail nutrition, maintain you can't really control sleep as much as you possibly can, and execute training. Days where you feel physically fucked and you've got nothing to give, reduce the intensity of that session, push through. Or not push through as like, I'm going to grind through it, but do what you can, okay? It's going to be peaks and troughs, but do not let anyone tell you that, all these factors in life means your training's going to go out the window. No, it does not. Control the controllables, maintain the things that you can't control, or just juggle the things that you can't control. I still managed to PB my split jerk, and training's going really, really well. And I'm nowhere near training for as long or at the intensity that I was doing before. And it's probably because I'm nailing the things that I can nail. Okay, that's my take on it. Right, last question. Question number 8. I've been training for 2 years and I feel like my technique is stuck in the exact same faults no matter what I try to fix. Is there a point where you need someone to just watch you and rebuild things from scratch? And how would you even know when you've reached that point? Right, training age is the first thing. If you're relatively new to Olympic lifting and you're finding that everything has come to a halt, you definitely need someone to help you. I think the first 2 years, or 2 to 3 years, you probably want to see, improvements a couple of times a year, okay? Once you get to that, 3, 4, 5 years of the sport, your progress weight on the bar is going to reduce. You're probably closer to your max. So your training cycle is going to be a lot longer. There probably won't be around 12 to 15 weeks. You're probably going to be doing a 22-week block of work. But whatever the case, we're always going to go back to what I say all of the time, is that are you working on the biggest bang for your buck, okay? Assess your technique. What is the issue that is holding you back the most? It's probably the issue that is happening earlier on in that movement. And you're going to do a really good job of that. You're going to work on improving the position of the lift to try and wipe out said technical fault that you found. From there then, look at it as positional strength. Now I need to test that in different positions, whether that's pause movements, top down, slow eccentrics, yada, 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 yada. Test it, strengthen it, then start to push that percentage up. As soon as it starts to break down, hold it, maintain it, and then go. What you don't want in your program is that you're trying to juggle 3, 4, 5 different things that you're trying to fix. Focus on that one big thing. 2 to 3 other things might start to gradually fix because you fix this one thing. Focus on doing that for, say, 16, 20-week program or 12-week program if you're slightly newer, up to 2 years, 3 years. Do a really good job. Focus, hone in on that one area. You'll probably start to see improvements. I would always say that you never look at your lift the same as a coach. So always reach out. If you think that your progress is slow, okay, you're making progress, but it's like, am I focusing on the right things, or am I focusing on things that I want to do, which is probably the case for a lot of people. What do? Get yourself a coach. Just offload that job to the coach to find out what the biggest thing is that you can improve in your lifts, and get them to program it for you. They are going to see your lift different to you. They're going to literally scrutinize it, analyze it, give you feedback, cues to go and work on in your next session. You're not necessarily going to look at it the same way. So that's what I would do. Now, I do something called the OptiPass, which is, I've linked it down below. 7 days of analysis. I will sit down with you, analyze the snatch, clean, split jerk, the mobility, your static strength in your squats and pulls. Get as much information as possible. We'll sit down on a free call, no obligation at all. I'm going to tell you the areas that you need to work on to actually start seeing improvements in your strength, overall strength, mobility, and your Olympic lifting technique. We'll start to devise a bit of a program. You can either go away and action it yourself, or you can go, no, Connor, do it for me, tell me what to do, give me the cues and the tips as the weeks go on. Let's flip and nail it, okay? Link is for that is below. So yeah, take advantage of it. That is the end of episode 33, which is absolutely crazy. 33 episodes in. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I've linked down below in the caption the OptiPass, 7 days of coaching analysis with myself, and we'll sit down on a free call thereafter, and the weightlifting free school community. It's free. We've got the weightlifting toolbox, everything that you need to know about weightlifting to become a better lifter and to have a better program to sort of follow by just making the adjustments that I put out in the group for free. The link is below. Join, take advantage. Feedback Friday is every single week. You can literally upload videos every single week. I'll give you the feedback. Go away and action it. Literally, it's flipping. It's amazing. It is. I am creating the things that I wish I had when I was setting out in this sport. And I hope that you find it valuable and massively helping you become a better athlete. So that is the end of the podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed episode 3. Make sure to like and subscribe. I shall see you next week for episode 34. Ciao.